while you were doing the housekeeping is bringing up our PowerPoint, but I thought, Dr. Ferguson, do you want to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about what you do, and then if you want to talk about names, we can do that, or we can go to the PowerPoint.
Sure, okay. So I unfortunately am not actually Dr. Ferguson yet. That is definitely on my to-do list, but not quite yet. So yes, I am actually new to Newman as well. I joined in August after having practiced in Philadelphia as a social worker for over 10 years. So I'm both the program director for the social work program, and then I'm also one of the full-time faculty members, and I've really, really loved my time at Newman so far, and I'm really excited to be here and to get to talk to you all today about what it would mean if you decide to be a social work major at Newman. Oh, and then the other thing I was going to mention is if you all are willing and able to do so, we thought it might be helpful if you hover your mouse or clicker kind of over the right-hand upper corner of your video box. You should see 3 dots, which would let you rename yourself. And if you wanted to just add to your name which plan of study you're currently interested in, we thought that might be helpful so that you could all kind of get a sense of what other ed or what other social work majors are in the room, and then this way we can kind of keep track of that too. But if you can't figure it out or you're not interested in doing that, that's fine too.
Yes, oh my gosh, it's good to see everybody. Woo! All right, so my name's Marisa Rauscher, and I'm a professor in the education department here at Newman. I will be starting my 17th year at Newman University next year, and I am a super fan. We call the place that we hang out on a daily basis the Holy Hill, because it's the highest point of Delaware County. So you have a really sweet view of the Commodore Barry Bridge, and you can see right across to New Jersey. So it's kind of cool. So I'm happy to be here, and it's so nice to be in a room with people who are interested in thinking about how we're gonna serve and support children and families.
Thank you. I just learned something from both of my colleagues who shared, and I appreciate that. And it makes me think how exciting it is that all of us here are going to get to be part of a learning community together in the fall. And it gives me a lot of energy. And I'll say one last thing. As I said before, I'm very new to Newman, but I had the chance to sit in on a virtual class the other day, and I'm so excited about what our undergraduate students get to do in their classes and how amazing our faculty are. And I think you'll get a sense of that today, and then you'll really get a sense of that when you join us in the fall. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm sorry I was playing with it a minute ago. And we're going to share some information with you about our programs just for a little bit, and then we'll open it up to questions and answers. So as Christine says, as we talk, as questions arise for you, please go into the chat, and Christine is paying attention because I'm not, and she will keep track of those questions. And so welcome.
Yep.
Good. And as you know from the big session we had, these are the programs in our undergraduate programs in our school. We also have a number of masters and a couple doctoral programs, but the students who are interested in secondary ed went over to the School of Arts and Sciences because they get to do some education work or some of their classes in both of the schools, and so they have an advisor in both, but the rest of you, as you know, it's the Bachelor of Arts in Early Elementary and Special Ed, the Bachelor of Arts in Educational Studies, and the Bachelor of Science in Social Work. So Devin and Dr. Rauscher are going to tell you a little bit about our bachelor's programs.
Yes, so I saw Britannia, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that quite correctly, but I see a couple people interested in early ed, and hopefully some of you are also interested in social work, because one of the things that makes me really excited about teaching in a Bachelor of Social Work program, and particularly at Newman, is I'm not sure that people realize how many different ways there are to be a social worker. So it's a really varied field with lots of really exciting and challenging and rewarding job opportunities. And so at Newman, we offer a Bachelor of Social Work program. And another thing I'm not sure people know about is that social work is really a growing field. Again, because there are so many different settings and populations that social workers work in. And I think sort of the bad rap that social work gets is that we're all, we've kind of taken this vow of poverty to be a social worker. And sure, there is room for, sort of improvement in the kind of what salaries are, but you can really make a really good living as a social worker. So I know especially parents tend to ask me, will my son or daughter, if they graduate with a BSW, will they be able to, be sufficient and have a good life? And that is absolutely true. And you can see there that the median annual income is actually around $56,000, which I think is higher than a lot of people think it might be. And the other thing that we're really proud of at Newman in particular with our BSW program, we're a relatively new program, but we keep growing every year. More and more students are deciding to major in social work. And we have been, we work really, really hard to help prepare them, of course, for whatever they want to do afterwards. And we have a 100% rate so far, in that every single one of our students who graduates the BSW program has known what they were going to do after graduation. So we've had about half of our graduates go straight on to graduate school to get their master's in social work, and then the other half have had jobs lined up to start right after graduation. So that's something that we're really, really proud of, and of course is really important. Now, do I have to? Okay, thank you. So this may not be something that you would otherwise normally care about, but it's really important to know that there is an accrediting body for all Bachelors of Social Work programs and Masters of Social Work programs. And another thing that we've worked really hard at the Newman BSW program is we are an accredited program. So that means that we, kind of follow the rules as far as the oversight that all accredited bachelor's and master's programs have to follow. And one of the really important things about being accredited is that means that if you decide at some point that you want to go on after Newman to get your MSW, you will be what's called an advanced standing student, which means that you will be able to finish your MSW more quickly than if you hadn't come through an accredited BSW program. So if you are interested in going on, it means less time and quite frankly, less money spent towards achieving your Master's of Social Work. And one of the real hallmarks of a social work educational program, both at the bachelor's level and again at the master's, is the field placement. What other areas of study would call an internship, but the social work field placement, so my colleague is the field placement director at Newman, but we work really closely together. The field placement is essentially, a very hands-on social work professional experience throughout the course of your senior year at Newman. So starting in your junior year, you would meet with the field placement director to start to fine-tune what area or what type of setting within social work you're most interested in, whether that's a hospital, a school setting, a mental health setting, child welfare. We have students placed in all different kinds of settings, Delaware, Philadelphia, of course, in the Delaware County area. And then throughout your senior year from, late August, early September through April, May, 2 days a week, you will be at your field setting. You'll be supervised by a social worker. And really, that gives our BSW students, of course, so many skills and such a knowledge base, but it gives you that real world work experience that you put on your resume, right? So when jobs are looking for 1 year to 2 years of experience, your field placement experience goes towards that work experience. And actually for a lot of our social work students, they get job offers once they're nearing the end of their senior year. So that's part of why our job placement rate has been so high too, because we've worked really hard. Our field placement director in particular has worked really hard to build really collaborative, positive relationships with agencies. So they love our students, and our students do really good work, and then oftentimes are asked to stay on in jobs when they're done. And then we also, we're always trying to think of ways to build, of course, connections with, outside agencies and placements, but we're also trying to build an internal community among the BSW students and faculty. And so one of the ways we do this is we have an honor society for social workers, for our social work students. So, if you have a certain overall GPA and a certain overall social work GPA, you're eligible to be honored as part of the Honor Society. It's a nationally recognized honor society. So again, it builds that sense of community, which we're really proud of at Newman overall and within the BSW program, but it also is another thing to put on your resume. It's, just a really nice way of us recognizing all of your hard work as a BSW student.
Okay,
Sorry, Dr. Rauscher.
Great. I'm going to jump in, and that was really helpful to listen to Professor Ferguson, because so much dovetails in terms of our goals and how we do what we do and how we prepare for our careers. This connection to field placement, field experience, really underscores both of our professions. So at Newman, we offer a really nice opportunity to come and do a dual certification in one 4-year experience. And as you look around, this is really important to note. Oftentimes you'll go to a particular institution and it might be the early childhood certification or the special ed certification. When you come to Newman, you have this 4-year experience and you'll have a dual degree leading to certification in both the areas of early elementary and special education. And with early elementary, you'll be certified in the grades pre-K through the 4th grade. With your special ed certification, you'll be certified pre-K through 12th grade. So this creates an incredible amount of marketability and versatility. You are really going to put yourself in a position where you'll have a lot of different looks and opportunities in terms of job prospects. We have some details here about how you move into officially being a part of the major. And some of these details will be harder to remember, but we want you to understand that you're part of a professional community and you meet certain milestones and you're accepted as a candidate at a certain point during your sophomore year. We also have another option, because we find that there are individuals who are not necessarily thinking, I want to be a certified teacher and I want to land in a elementary school in a community, where I want to be at a setting that serves students who have particular needs that need to be addressed in a more intentional way at a school that serves students in special ed. Maybe you're thinking, I'm thinking I might even want to go into business and work for an HR department and do their education pieces. I want to work at a museum in Philadelphia and bring in those student groups and oversee those experiences. We have a couple students right now who want to be what are called child life specialists in hospital settings. So we have some students who are really interested in working in fields related to understanding children and development and serving families, but not necessarily want to be certified. And so we also have this Bachelor of Arts in Educational Studies, and that can be a nice option for certain students. I guess, and Professor Ferguson really hit on a lot of this, I thought, really well. Really, the Newman Experience is just more than classes. No matter what department, no matter what major you choose, we are this just unique, cool cat community on the Holy Hill, where everybody knows your name. And for us, as social workers and educators, we have this domain on the 3rd floor of a particular building on campus. It's called the Bachman Building. And most of our classes happen there. And we become a posse, a crew, a squad. And there's a certain amount of reassurance and belief in that. When you're doing something challenging, you're doing something hard, you're certifying to teach, you're going to go out as an ed studies major and work with a museum, that's hard work. And so knowing that you can access your professors, have conversations about your goals and aspirations is just critical. So we have incredible learning communities at Newman. We are connected to field from semester 1. So right away you'll be out. We have an incredible field experience coordinator who allows you to experience every type of school, early childhood, elementary, different types of special ed settings, service learning projects. We have incredible collaborations with different school entities in the area. So you'll be getting to do rather than just to listen and be in classes. You're going to be active and engaged. And one feature that really underscores that is right on campus, we have a child development center. So we always have a full pond of little people that we can access any day of the week and do collaborations with. So the students from the child development center are ages 3 to 5, and we work with them frequently. Lastly, just a side note, we wanted to, when we were talking, when Dr. Hoyle and Professor Ferguson and I were talking about this earlier today, we wanted to highlight that although our programs are rigorous and connected, there's a lot of opportunities at Newman to also travel and learn. And so you can make this happen. This was actually a picture, I took this picture. We were in Guatemala and we were working at a school. And so we have a lot of really interesting spring break, early May trips where we go to places where we can broaden our mindsets, connect with new and interesting people, and do some work and grow as educators and professionals. So lots of opportunity at Newman to travel and learn as well.
I do. I'm so excited to be here myself, and I'm so excited to be welcoming others. So, Christine, have questions popped up? Because if not, I have some questions.
Yeah, so one of them is for Professor Ferguson, actually. She wants to know how long the master's program would be if you did the BSW at Newman.
That's a great question. So typically a master's of social work program, if done full-time, not coming from an advanced standing from the BSW program, would be about 2 full years. You can shave off typically at least about 6 months from that. So it'd still probably be about a year to a year and a half. But you know, some of the classes that you would take would count towards the MSW, so you wouldn't have to retake those classes. And then if you were to be full-time as not an advanced standing student, you would do a field placement in your first year of the MSW program and another field placement in the second year. But coming from a BSW program like the one that we have at Newman, the field placement that you do at Newman counts as your first field placement, so you would do then just the second field placement during your MSW program. And I'm glad for your question too, because I forgot to mention that at Newman, we do have what are called articulation agreements. So we have an agreement with Bryn Mawr's Master of Social Work program. They actually call it a Master of Social Service or an MSS, but it's the same thing. So our Newman BSW students are essentially given some I guess you could say kind of like preferential consideration. The application fee is waived. They definitely recognize some of the classes. They recognize the field placement. There's like a kind of like a grant or kind of like a discount possibly on the overall cost of the MSW program. We also have another articulation agreement in the works with Westchester, and there's a lot of great MSW programs in the area, so we're always looking for more partnerships like that. But long story short, to answer your question, it would be about a year to 18 months.
Perfect. That is the only question that's in the chat. So, Dr. Hoyle, if you want to have it.
Yeah, so we were, the three of us were thinking this morning about the kind of things that might be helpful as you start at Newman. And so the first question, I'll throw it out to both of you to answer. What advice would you offer to incoming first-year students who might be nervous about the transition into the freshman year of college?
Yeah. Gosh, I think it is so normal to be nervous starting something new, right? And I think when you begin college, there's just a flood of a lot of new feelings. And so I would just really encourage people who are starting that journey to find ways to connect. And part of what is fundamental to us at Newman is relationships. We start there. That's the fundamental component of everything. We know we can do great things if we can meet one another with respect, with reverence, with integrity. And so I would just really encourage, to push yourself to have a little conversation with whoever's in the front of the room or the back of the room, classmates, and connect with those professors, because then they see you, they know you. And once you are heard and you have voice and you feel connected, you begin to be able to build investment and then create some space in yourself to look for things that are fun and interesting and ways that you can challenge yourself. So, I mean, it's a little nebulous, my little piece of advice, but it's the connection, the relationship, putting yourself in the awkward, those beginning weeks when they have all those events where you can have some free food or do a little small talk. Go for it. Go eat some free food. And it will help you begin to feel like you have a home.
Yeah, and I would just, to piggyback on what Dr. Rauscher just said, I view my role, and I know I speak for, the vast majority of other professors at Newman, regardless of department or school, is, my role is to partner with you, right, as a student. And so I think what I've seen, especially I do teach intro to social work, and then I teach some of the higher level classes with juniors and seniors. And I think one of the biggest differences I see is that the juniors and seniors have figured out what Dr. Rauscher is talking about, and that how to partner with professors in particular, right? So not to just view us as these big, mean, scary people, up at the front of the room who are issuing your grades, right? But, talk to us, ask us questions. If something's not making sense, come by during office hours or come up after class, and I think that's really, first year students are maybe particularly nervous or apprehensive about doing that, but we as professors really, really want to build that connection with you and really want to aid in, your overall educational growth, but again, your professional growth as well. So that would be my advice.
So this next question, at first I was, sorry, go ahead.
I think Caitlin has a question. Is that right, Christine?
Yes, so there's a question about the education program and student teaching. How early do students start student teaching, and where have we placed students locally?
That's a great question, because when I was speaking earlier, I wasn't really specific about that. And we view it like this. We view it as a continuum. So as soon as you begin the program, you are in a field placement, not student teaching yet. That's the finale. Your last semester will be student teaching, but every semester along the way, you have a field placement. And the responsibility that you have in the field placement grows as you move up in the classes. So in the beginning, you'll be observing, and then as you move along, you'll be doing more planning and interacting. And the types of schools, we have what we call pools of schools. So every level, we try to introduce you to a new experience. So you'll be in an early childhood setting, an elementary setting, a special ed school, or perhaps you'll be in a local school in a resource room where they're serving students who need additional support. We're pushing in to students who need support. We try to do public school and private school as well. And we try to give you the full range of experience so you can hone in on what you think is of most interest to you. From when you make a request for student teaching, you actually have a say in where you will student teach. And that choice is really appreciated by our students. Thanks, Caitlin.
Okay.
Awesome.
Christine, were there other questions?
Couple more minutes. No, there's no more questions, but we have a couple more minutes before we wrap up. Is there any words of wisdom or advice, or just general things that you would like prospective students to know when they're making their decision and looking at schools for next year?
I mean, I would just say, sorry to jump in, you know, in my time at Newman so far, I have just been so welcomed, you know, and I feel that as a faculty member, and I see that happening for the students as well. And I hear, you know, the conversations that faculty have about, you know, how to get to know students, how to support students, you know, what will be the best fit for students. So, you know, I think, I know at Newman that you will really get that personalized, individualized, caring attention that I think, right, it's probably part of what has brought you to Newman in the first place, and why you're interested in it. So it really is a very, very caring, you know, sort of culture and atmosphere that I think is really great for students.
I was going to say something similar, and I'm thinking about my own experience being welcomed at Newman, because of course I'm new, and also my visits here, and why I decided this was a great place for me, and I already know that it is. And it's related to a lot of what the two of you have already said in relationships. But what I was thinking is, you know, when you're a new student and you're uneasy about who to go to for what, or what questions to ask, or why you're not doing well in a class even, or you're not sure how to do well in a class and you want to, it's sometimes hard to reach out. And what I really have experienced at Newman and seen from the faculty is they're also watching out for you. So while we're telling you, you know, do these things and go out and reach out, which we want you to do and you'll benefit from so much, we're also looking out for one another, and we're looking out for you. And I have experienced that in the last few weeks. Even though I'm sitting in my house and everyone else is in other spaces, they're looking out for me. And that is an incredible experience to be part of that kind of community.
That's great. I'm glad you feel that, Dr. Halil. I know Fran and Caitlin and Mary and Siobhan and Gianna and Britannia and Lauren, you will too.
I think another question did come through, right, Christine?
Yeah, if you have any advice for a transfer student looking to transfer in either to social work or to education, how we can help those students.
I mean, I know on the social work side, you know, we'll see what you're bringing over, you know, from your previous educational setting, and certainly, you know, try to get you done as quickly as you want, right? And while of course still making sure that you walk out with a really strong social work foundation. So, you know, just the nitty gritty of that would be, you know, we'll sit down, we'll look at what you've taken, what can count towards our requirements, and, you know, where you might have to, if anything, make anything up. Again, get to know you, you know, quickly, figure out what you're interested in. Because again, that you'll be in field placement then more quickly than obviously if you had come in as a first year student. But again, we're really, our job is to give you that foundation that you'll need to be successful, but then to also tailor the experience as much as possible to what you're interested in and what you want to do.
Dr. Rauscher, do you want to add anything about transfers into the education program?
Yeah, I think that what Professor Ferguson said really captures it. It's part of the unique model of advisement at Newman, that it's not a sink or swim model, that there really is this bridge, and we're working with you and walking with you, and then transferring more and more of that power and decision making over as you're comfortable and you can navigate the program. And so I would just want to reassure anyone who is in a situation where they're transferring that we're ready and we've done it, and we want you because we know we can help you navigate and make it work. And that's what's really important when you're transferring. You need to know that it works. Does this work? You know, and it does work at Newman. And I could cite several students in our program right now who are having a really good experience and are going to have another year, and they're going to come out certified. So pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And I think too, just to piggyback of what you both have said, just as an alumni of Newman, their professors are going to meet you, advisors are going to meet you where you are. So if you're coming from another institution to finish your degree, they're going to work with you and make sure that you have all the tools that you need to be successful and to complete as quickly as possible. And I think you would be in very good hands at Newman if you are a transfer student. Great. Last question, and then we'll wrap up. Do education majors need a master's degree after they graduate with their bachelor's?
So when education majors graduate, they certainly can get jobs at the schools. They'll have their instructional one. The students who are in the bachelor's of elementary and special ed get the dual certification. And they can apply for jobs in the schools, and certainly many of our graduates get jobs. Many districts require, it's not many districts, actually the Pennsylvania Department of Education requires that during your first years of teaching and then continuing through your career, you earn graduate credit hours, so that it's called Act 48. And you have to take classes. And so many students come back to Newman who've loved it as undergrads and choose to get a master's, because if you have to take a number of credits already in order to keep your certification, you might as well get the degree, because then you're learning even more and you get more experience at Newman. I don't know if you want to add to that, Dr. Rauscher?
No, right on point. Yeah, I mean, because not to boil it down too much, but really because the most important part is what I think you shared, Dr. Hoyle, this idea of continuing to learn and, staying current. But the other side of the house, like the financial piece, is the only way you make more money as a teacher is more years and more degrees. So you don't have to, but you have to do a certain amount of continuing ed. And of course, you would want to be practical in that and place that towards a master's degree, so that you can continue to learn, grow, and make some more money.
Yes.
That's awesome. I want to, as we wrap up here, I want to share the contact information for everyone who was on today. And it should be here. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes. And please feel free to reach out to any of us. I think it's came across as we talked, the most important thing for us is connecting with our students, connecting with one another too. But really, we're excited about our programs, and we're excited that you all are here, and that we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Yep. Absolutely. I want to thank everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you on campus soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.